And so there's just a whole spectrum because like people, like personalities, like everything, there's just a whole wide variety. Like we just said in the beginning, there's so many things to look at. And I think people like will hear like an avant-garde song and they'll be like, why are they smacking things? I can't follow it. Because like your ears aren't opened up to a more outgoing sound yet. You know, if you gave it a few shots, you know, because like the first time you hear music, it's probably bewildering when you're a little baby because you've never heard it before. Yeah. So it's just a new kind of music you've never heard before. So if someone's smacking their head on the piano, maybe not be the best outgoing example of music, but there is like really far out there avant-garde pieces that you can listen to. And once you've kind of gotten used to that kind of sound and you open yourself up to it, it's equally as beautiful.
What's up, everybody? It's Poorly Edited Podcast. Back at you. Oh, God, music's still playing. That's my bad.
It's first day.
Yep. We try to put a local spotlight on local talent or something. What's Chandler's intro?
Oh, wow. Come on. You always yell at me when I mess it up?
Yeah.
Okay. You want me to,
on purpose, though.
Do you want me to just do it for you?
Sure, you want to play another food truck song?
Yeah, sure. You're listening to the Poorly Edited Podcast live on WXLV The X, the show that puts a spotlight on the most creative minds we can find. The very best a couple college kids can do.
Very well.
Very badly.
Can't even remember the slogan, so we can't even, we definitely can't do it well enough. Pat, are you gonna pull up the reins here and take it away, or what?
Huh? We're here with Scissorfish's lead guitarist
And singer.
pianist, singer.
Chris. Yeah.
What's your last
How you
name?
doing today, man?
Hearth, I'm doing pretty good.
You drove all the way from New Jersey, so thank you very much. New Jersey, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, like an
How
hour
deep
away.
in Jersey are we talking here?
Not super deep, like Clinton, that area.
Oh, yeah.
This wasn't worth it.
That's not that far away.
No, it's not super bad.
I used to have to work I used to do HVAC at hotels, and I was in Clinton once. It was one of the only nice hotels I went to. 'Cause I had to go into a lot of really sketchy hotels.
Yeah.
Really dirty, like moldy, like certain rooms you weren't allowed to go into. Not because they were occupied, but like you are not allowed to go in those kind of rooms, sort
Spirit
of thing.
will
So
attach itself to you.
maybe like that was probably like best case scenario. I'm
Did you
pretty
go
sure
to
it
the
was like drug
Spirited
deal
Away
stuff.
Hotel?
No, I don't know. It was just some hotel in Clinton.
Okay.
So, but anyway, thank you for driving all the way out here to little old Schnecksville. Go ahead.
Chris had a interesting request of us, so we wouldn't write an outline for this episode.
Yeah.
So if it goes badly, it's his fault. I just want to throw that out there.
You know, if I have to
P.O.
make
box.
if I have to just make weird sounds for the like last segment, we'll do it. You know.
Whoa,
That
save
would be
that.
my
Say that's
favorite
good. Save
episode
that.
then.
What?
That would be my favorite episode. Just like him and I making weird sounds the entire time. I do a great dolphin. We don't have to talk
Oh
about my
yeah, I don't know if
dolphin.
we should do that on.
I don't think that's radio friendly.
You do a really good Fran too.
Oh no.
Fran Drescher. Yeah, if you ever want to, DM me for that Fran
but
Drescher.
Again, the FCC actually doesn't allow Fran impressions, so we're not
Or the
allowed.
FDA, surprisingly. For some reason, they also have something against it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of weird noises, you describe your music as experimental.
I try to experiment. I wouldn't say like I for sure can say we're experimental, but I try to do things with instruments that I wouldn't say everybody else is doing. We try to I consciously try to be different. Not forcing it, but avoid common structure, verse, chorus. Is
that hard, or did that just kind of come naturally?
It really, the songwriting thing is such a strange thing for me. Sometimes it can come naturally because a lot of the music I listen to is like that. But sometimes you can feel like, oh, this melody is this could be more of a poppier song. And I could just,
verse, chorus it.
Bar graph it out for you and put it at 120 beats per minute and make you dance to it. Or I could stab my guitar and halfway through the verse. So I'll opt for that, honestly.
Right, because that's the kind of stuff that you like listening to. That is definitely, that plays such a huge role in how you write. It's the kind of stuff you listen to. It rubs off on you whether you want it to or not. So what kind of stuff led you down this path?
Man, that's a long story.
Okay.
I guess
we've got a full hour to fill.
Yeah, well, let's do it. Okay.
Full hour, no outline.
I think so I used to listen to really basic music. Not that it's basic is bad, but I listen.
No, we like to call out people on the show. So,
all right.
If you got specific names, that'd be great.
If you listen to these bands, you're a bad person.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was like, I mean, I loved the Beatles and I still do, but like, I was just like into like
but they suck.
They're can't write, can't sing, none of it. I was really into the Beatles. I was like into kind of just Led Zeppelin, like the basic rock music stuff. And I would say about 8th grade, I started to get into Modest Mouse. I heard like Float On.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a great song. But I was like, he's not really singing on pitch most of the time. And there's like halfway through the second verse, he goes like, it's like, what's going on there? And then I started to listen to like their early stuff. And if you listen to their early stuff, it is like freaked out, schizophrenic, like punk country.
I'm a big fan of King Rat, which is a very stressful song.
It's a great song. Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, I loved some of like their early music, and it's like crazy. He's like lisping and screaming and going crazy, and the guitars are out of tune, and it's like the drums are recorded horribly, but it still sounds so good, and the lyrics are amazing. I'm kind of convinced that Isaac Brock is some sort of genius. So yeah, when I heard that, I was like, so wait, music doesn't have to be like radio friendly, like that clean sound?
Yeah, we were kind of talking about that earlier when you were like, some of the stuff you liked listening to sounded like the drums were just recorded, in a living room. It sounded like it was happening right in front of you. What do you think is it about that kind of, I don't want to say low quality because there's something that we like about it. So what is it about that kind of different way that they approached it? Unconventional, where, maybe he's singing off pitch or the drums were actually recorded in a living room. What is it about that you think resonates with certain people?
There could be a lot of things to it. I mean, part of it, there's a lot of things really. Like part of it is just rebellion. It's like, oh, I don't want to hear a pop song with perfect vocals and everything. I want to hear him scream and, his vocal cords sound like they wanted to hop out of their throat. So part of it could be like a rebellion thing.
That happened to me in high school, right? I just found the White Stripes and people are like, why do you listen to them? His vocals are bad. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I thought you meant your vocals.
No.
I was hoping that's what he meant.
Can we mic that?
Yeah. Well, everything's an acquired taste. Like some people love jazz. Like I love jazz music, but other people are just like, why is it not a certain way? Why is it not consonant? Why is it not easier to listen to? So that's part of it. The other thing is like authenticity. Part of it is like, and that's kind of the thing I'm going for with my band. Like we're self-recording all our music. So our drum sound is not going to sound expensive. It's going to sound like what we spent on it, which isn't a whole lot of money because we didn't have it. But I think part of that is when you hear a band that might not have had the most money, but they're still trying like their hardest to put out music, there's an authenticity to that. It's like,
yeah, absolutely.
We don't sound beautiful. We don't sound amazing, but like we sound like we're trying our hardest and we're going to prove it to you. Even if our microphone is a banana, that's like the best we can do.
We've had other I'm sorry, Pat.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say we've met other artists and had them on the show that have kind of done the same thing. Seth Witcher, the people from any step of their production, which is it's kind of unintentionally intentionally sounded a little bit different, a little bit off, a little bit not perfect and crisp, but that's what you were going for. And you don't realize that no matter how much money you have or how elaborate you want to be with your production, it can be something that people kind of crave that they don't realize that they crave. They think that it has to be such a high quality experience when it can be lower quality, but it's very intentional. And I think that's kind of what you mean with your sound.
Yeah, I mean, like think of it like this, like guitar distortion. Everyone loves a good distorted guitar. That's degradation of a clean. It's like you're
they
ruining.
Literally just cut the top part of the wavelength off. Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that's, and people like that. Or like, I think everyone likes to like, even like if you don't like metal music, everyone likes like when like a singer can kind of scream a little bit. Like even like a soul singer or something like really puts it in. You're kind of trashing your voice to make it sound that way, but it's still something's a little more authentic about it, a little more real. It's a little different. I mean, I feel like if we listened to the same music all the time and it sounded the same way because we recorded like the same, you'd be desperate to hear anything else. And sometimes when you listen to mainstream music, you don't get that variance in sound. So sometimes you just want to hear something that sounds like it's coming from a fuzzy truck radio, So
for me, it's like when that kind of music, I want to listen to a song where I'm like, no one else can make this song. When like some pop music, I'm like, everyone's got like their style or whatever, but I feel like you can get pretty similar if you're comparing certain artists.
Yeah, or Kmart music, you walk in, you're like, what? It's the same song 12 times,
Yeah, but if you listen to like I don't know, like certain punk bands where it's just like they're so implanted in their music, no one can replicate it.
Yeah,
it's like impossible.
Yeah, no, yeah, because you're your own thing. I think like who wants to hear like 100 people that sounded exactly like, I don't know, Katy Perry? Like she's great. Katy Perry's great, but like you've probably heard plenty of people that are trying to sound just like her, and it's like, what's the point? Like, let's hear someone interesting. There's no point in making music that sounds like everyone else's, because that's a waste of your time.
I think variety is a really important factor of what makes art actually art, because I think once you start, if everybody sounded like Katy Perry, I think we'd be feeling about music in a different way.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be like this like pinnacle in everybody's life. I don't think it would be viewed the same way as art. It would just be like this thing, you know, almost like just traffic is just a thing.
Yeah.
You know, everybody sounds like Katy Perry, so music is just a thing.
Yeah, it's just this background
That's something
noise.
I haven't really thought about. Yeah, background noise. It's something I haven't really thought about before, but I think variety is really important for art.
Yeah, I mean, and if you start like
Pushing the boundaries.
yeah, I mean, if everything was still cave drawings, like where would we be?
Right,
You know?
yeah.
It's like we want to see like 3D art. We want to see like movies. We want to see all these different styles of the same thing. But yeah, there's no point. Like if all your friends had the same name, the same haircut, and they all talk the same, you know what I mean? What's the point of having any different friends? You want to meet different people, and it's like diversity is one of the most powerful things there are, like in everything. So why would you not apply it to art? You know, and there's so many. I think the other thing about art is obviously it's expression of the human form, imagined or real. You know, sadness or like imposed sadness or happiness or whatever. And at the same time, there's so many different levels of being a person. Like there's so many feelings you feel through a day, you know, if you're aware of it, that it's like there should be so many songs encompassing each of those feelings, like apathy, boredom, sadness, happiness, joy, being lucky, you know, being angry, being annoyed. There's all kinds of things to cover in being a person. And it's like there should be a song for each of those. And so that's why there should be so much variety in everything.
There's bands where I'm like, I listen to in the winter because I wish it was summer. There's like they fit that specific mood, which is like crazy that's where we are as a society. That everyone like there can be that many bands where you can have any kind of thought, and it's like I'm gonna listen to this band.
Yeah.
Something about those varieties is I think that music allows you to feel something that you've never felt before in many different ways, or like you said, take you to a place. Like you listen to certain music in the winter because you want to be there in the summertime. And I've listened to certain songs, certain genres of music that just gave me a feeling that I know I haven't experienced. It's taken me to a place that I know I haven't been to before, but someone else has, and they've kind of let me into their world by being like, well, I get to experience this for the first time with them, even though they already have. And I think there's something really beautiful and transcending about that I think that your kind of music that you're talking about gives you the opportunity. It's just like you're experiencing something that's not original, that's not mainstream, that's not like everyone else is singing about these different types of things. It's like I'm taking you to a different place that you've never experienced before, and we're going to go on this journey together. And I think that's like just amazing to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, some of my favorite music is like really heightened reality kind of stuff, or like very abstract, like talking about like cyclopses and just like random things, or like snakes slithering around in your brain or whatever. I mean, like, and all of it's metaphors probably, but that taking me into
hope so.
Yeah, we hope so, you know.
Or that guy is really cool.
Yeah, or there's all kinds of things. But it's the same thing with movies. I mean, you watch like a really crazy sci-fi movie because they're like, I want to see flying cars and I want to see people get shot in the face with lasers or whatever, you know. So everything, it's part of it's escapism, and part of it is also, I think, also recognizing the same feeling someone might be having. Like there's some songs you hear, you're like, I get it. I understand what you're saying. I 100% understand that feeling, the chords you're playing and that melody and those lyrics that you're saying. Like everyone has lyrics they connect to because they understand what the person's saying. So I think it's a form of connection, and it can also be a form of distancing. I think it's all art is kind of just like a person because it's made by people. So it's like, it's all things. It's everything. It could be bad, good. It can be divisive. It can be something that joins people. It can be hateful. It can be loving. It can be everything. So there's no reason to ever limit what it can be. And when people try to they're like, well, let's make a really catchy song. Let's keep making catchy songs. Nothing wrong with that. But it's like, there's more than just catchy songs. There's songs that make you want to rip the earbuds out, you know, and those are just as valid, you know. There's songs where people just scream for 10 minutes. And to me, that's just as valid as songs where people sing beautifully.
There's a Nirvana song called Endless Nameless, where it's literally just them, or it's Endless Nameless live and loud, I guess. But it's like 10 minutes long or something, and I think the only vocals are Kurt screaming at some point, but it's like so ridiculous and like just them playing and slamming on their instruments, and it just goes for so long, and I'm like, I'm really glad it exists.
Yeah,
because I don't think a lot of people would do it.
There's a whole underground of that kind of thing. Like if you're into that sort of thing, you can find that kind of music. And there's music. I have been taught to like see music as two things: ingoing and outgoing, not like consonant or dissonant. Ingoing, outgoing. In the middle is semi-ingoing. So outgoing would be just like bashing instruments, screaming like you can't even recognize what's going on. Ingoing would be like the most basic, like boop, 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 like the most basic pattern ever.
Like a metronome?
Yeah, something like that. Really simple. Like you can identify the pattern, maybe like one tone that's really ingoing. Really outgoing is crazy. Semi-ingoing is kind of like, I would say pop music is a little closer to semi-ingoing, but it's still very recognizable. You know when the chorus is about to hit because they do the build up and then they sing the high note or whatever. You know what's happening. And then like I try to live in the spectrum of like a little past semi-ingoing to outgoing. So there's still elements of recognizable things, like we're playing chords sometimes. We're playing in tune notes sometimes. I'm singing sometimes. Sometimes I'm just yelling. But there's like recognizable melodies mixed with strange peaks into like the outgoing crazy land, squealy sounds and shrieking and weird keyboard sounds and lyrics that don't 100% make sense maybe, or strange chord patterns that you might not be used to. So I think that's where I try to live as a musician, and that's kind of more my favorite music always. I feel more validated by that kind of thing.
All right. We gotta go to a break real quick. You want to say something quick?
Just real quick, I haven't heard of that before. That's very interesting. Maybe we'll talk about that more.
Yeah, sure.
I like to hit on that
back
more.
into the live world.
I'll get started on that. We'll be right back. And we're back with Chris from
Scissorfish.
Hi.
Real quick,
Yes.
Pat. Well, this is actually directed directly at Pat.
Yes.
He was so eager to start the show today that he forgot to introduce everybody.
Yeah, you're right.
Does it really matter though?
No, absolutely not. I just wanted to.
My name's Chandler.
My name is Amresse Farrow.
My name's Coffee Guy, aka Zachary Davis.
Wow. Was that a joke?
So back to Chris.
Okay.
So Zach, what did you have any? You seem pretty pretty eager to get in there.
I don't. That's just the whole outgoing, ingoing thing. It's not something I've ever heard of before. Was that something you came up with, or because you said you were taught to think that way, right?
Yeah.
So how did that start?
I'm a jazz piano player too, so I'm trained like sort of classically by this really great piano teacher, and he's one of those very intelligent guys, and he's turned me on to this theory methodology that a lot of jazz players use, like in the early 50s, like John Coltrane, Bill Evans, some of the greatest people ever. And it's called the Lydian chromatic concept of tonal organization. So it's really fancy guy stuff. But the thing,
like an acronym in there somewhere?
LCCOTO. So not much better, but we just call it the concept. And it's a huge textbook, not a huge textbook, but it's a big textbook. And there's a lot of things in it. It's like one of those things you can't read it once, you got to keep going over because it's just so packed with knowledge. But one of the things that I realized was like, oh, this is genius, was ingoing, outgoing. Because Western theory, not to say that it's wrong, not to say that there's anything bad about it, because I've studied it too, and I passed like the AP exam and everything. I took it. So, but it likes to describe things in consonant and dissonant. So 2 notes that sound bad are dissonant. 2 notes that sound good are consonant. It's the most basic way I could describe it to you, right? So if you hear someone go blah, 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 it's dissonant, right? But if you hear someone go, that's consonant, right? That leads people to think, well, don't use that because that doesn't sound good. Don't use this because it doesn't sound good, which is the opposite of the truth, because like there's plenty of dissonant sounding things that you don't even realize, like the blues scale or whatever uses like a flat 5, which is like a tritone from the root, which is considered dissonant. But like all blues music, plenty of rock music, plenty of soul music, plenty of like R&B, plenty of like everything uses that like dissonant kind of quality, or like a dominant 7th chord is a tritone, and you're not supposed to use tritones. There's all kinds of things that people say don't sound good. So instead they say ingoing and outgoing. So ingoing is just more close to like unity, you know what I mean? Like if you were to go into space and transcend to the astral plane, that's what you would hear. The most sound, the most beautiful thing ever. And then the most outgoing sound would just be like the most atonal jazz song you've ever heard, where it's just screaming into the saxophone, and which is just as beautiful. I wouldn't say that it's not beautiful. I would just say it's a different kind of beautiful. And so there's just a whole spectrum, because like people, like personalities, like everything, there's just a whole wide variety. Like we just said in the beginning, there's so many things to look at. And I think people like will hear like an avant-garde song and they'll be like, why are they smacking things? I can't follow it. Because like your ears aren't opened up to a more outgoing sound yet. If you gave it a few shots, because like the first time you hear music, it's probably bewildering when you're a little baby because you've never heard it before.
Yeah.
So it's just a new kind of music you've never heard before. So if someone's smacking their head on the piano, maybe not be the best outgoing example of music, but there is like really far out there avant-garde pieces that you can listen to. And once you've kind of gotten used to that kind of sound and you open yourself up to it, it's equally as beautiful. And I have this really great like proto-electronica compilation vinyl I bought a while ago, or just kind of on a whim because I thought it looked cool. And I listened to it for the first time, and one of the songs, like I burst into tears. And it, to anyone else, you're like, he's just listening to beeps and boops and weird loud sounds rattling. But to me, I was like, I was going through a tunnel and there was things attacking me, and I was getting like wrapped up in this warm, terrifying sound that I couldn't grab onto. And it feels dangerous and it feels strange. It's like it's thrill seeking, really. And
do you like visualize a lot like that when you're listening to music?
Yeah, people say they hear music sometimes. I say I always see music. Not like I have synesthesia or anything, but like I kind of can just see the way things interlock and the way it's supposed to fit. So like if I'm playing with a drummer and I'm a little over the beat or something, I can kind of see like the beat's here and I'm over here.
So like Guitar Hero or something. That's just what
like,
you see all the time.
Yeah, I'm just always playing Guitar Hero. I'm up there like, that's what I'm always doing.
Do you think there's a problem with the way people are taught about music, at least in the Western culture, that may lead there to be like this bigger divide?
Well, I'm not a scholar, and so I wouldn't say I have like the authority to be like everything you've been told is wrong.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that anything you've told is wrong.
No,
I would say,
and I don't necessarily mean it like that. I think maybe just the approach.
I would say culturally, maybe not like theoretically. I mean, what are you taught about music? Like you're just like, this music's on the radio and it sounds good. Like, does anyone really take your hand through like a record shop and show you about everything? Not really. I think the problem is just like with movies, there's like, we just pump out crap now. I mean, it's just terrible movie after terrible movie after rehashed idea. And it's kind of the same thing with like the most basic level of music. It's the same ideas that worked before. And it's not that there's anything wrong with repeating things, but I think maybe like just as a person, if you're interested in expanding yourself or just learning what else is out there, or you're tired of what you're hearing, I think maybe there should be more encouragement from like schools or anything to branch out, or there should be like more listening time in schools. I took a music course and we had like listening. We would just sit for like a half hour and just listen to music, and they would put on music and just expose us, and you might not like everything, I'd have listening parties with my friends. So we all bring over a record that no one's heard except for the person that brought it, and no phones, we shut all the windows and you just sit and you got to listen, and you got to you actually have to focus, Because the other thing, I think one thing that we might be taught wrong is passive listening. And because there's nothing wrong with putting music on while you do chores. But like people will be like, yeah, I listened to that new album while I was like driving in the car. I was like, how did you like really listen to it?
Oh yeah, for sure. Because I'm such an active listener. Like I could never be one of those people that listens and reads at the same time. That totally boggles my mind that anybody can
maybe
do that.
Ambient music for me. It's really good to put me in a spin.
I can't listen to anything for the first time if I'm doing something else. And honestly, I think it's kind of disrespectful, because if I have a friend or someone refer me to an album or something that they want me to experience, I can't be like, well, I can do this while I know I'm cleaning or while I'm driving or something. I have to actually put it on, and that is the only thing that I have planned. Now, if I know that I already enjoy something and I know I already am searching for a certain type of feel, then I can put that on while I am reading, or then I can put that on while I'm doing a secondary activity. But I think that if you don't take that time to feel it wholly for the first time without doing anything else, then you don't know when the appropriate time is that you want to play it again.
Yeah.
And what that will tie into. What is that music to you? Because everyone's music, they pull up for different things. That's the point. We have playlists. You're not going to use your cleaning playlist while you're reading. You're not going to use your reading playlist while you're jogging. But you can't classify all those things if you don't take the time to actively find where that fits into your heart.
Yeah, well, like a great modern example is the newest Tyler, the Creator album. I have not liked his earlier output, but I liked the Flower Boy. I'm not going to say the first part of it. And the newest one, Igor. I think, and he released with the record, whatever he said, it was kind of funny, but he was like, don't be cleaning your room. Don't like drive in the car, sit and listen to it in full first, which I was like, why do you have to tell anyone that? But he's right, because you see people walking around with AirPods and then they're on their phone and they're also walking somewhere. And I was like how, like, it's just like, isn't that annoying at a certain point? It just becomes background noise. How do you appreciate anything? Like, music for me can be such an intense experience sometimes. Like, it can drive me to tears. It can drive me to like want to run around and punch things in the face. And, it can make me really happy. It can make me really sad. It can bring me back to a place. And it's like, for me to numb that is, I don't know. I think one of the things we like to do is numb ourselves. And like we use music as like the numbing agent, but it's really supposed to disturb you. I think it should take you away from being comfortable and sometimes comfort you. But it shouldn't be used as this like, I mean, it can be used as a passing thing. There's ambient music and I love ambient music. And not all music can be listened to with full focus, but to also ignore listening with full focus is like cutting off the whole left side of your body. It's like, what? You can't do that. You need this side too. And it's, to me, it's like one of the most intense things that there is out there, music and art. And I couldn't imagine my life without it. And I think it'd be really sad. It's really sad that other people don't get that. And or aren't taught to get that. Maybe it's not to point fingers, but yeah, sitting, like, I don't know, everybody, if you're interested in doing this, go home, get your headphones. If you have like an hour, lay down on the floor, close your eyes, and listen to an album.
It has to be the floor, no beds,
Lights
couches.
off.
I recommend the floor because it's like a leveling agent, kind of. It's not gonna make you fall asleep, and you're sort of like submitting yourself to the music. When I sit on the floor, like, it's not like something like if I sit in a chair, like it's like I'm above it, or like I'm ready to listen to music. If I'm on the floor, I've kind of surrendered myself, and there's no guard up anymore. It's like I just have to sit and let it take me,
Any pillows, like throw or otherwise, on there? Or
sometimes for my head if the neck starts to go bad, but
I have a bad back, so I might need something to support my spine a little bit.
Listen, you're gonna ruin your experience.
I like this idea, though, this concept of that music is supposed to disturb you. I don't think I've really heard that before. I think that today, especially
you've heard my music. Listen, the music I put on in the car, though, that seems to disturb you a little bit.
Some of it disturbs. Your Arctic Monkeys is terrible. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. I just tried to trigger Pat.
It's also the least disturbing.
No,
it's not very.
I was going to say,
disturbing.
it's not that out there.
No, you're right. But like the idea that things are supposed to disturb you, that doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It can be a very, very good thing. But I think as a society, we're taught that things are supposed to coddle you. They're supposed to make you feel more comfortable. They're supposed to cushion you, and that doesn't have to be how it is. A restaurant or a food experience or a trying on clothes or anything it is that you're interested in or you could go out and do can be a whole experience, and it doesn't have to make you feel safe. It doesn't have to make you feel comfortable, and I think you become too safe by feeling comfortable all the time, by feeling safe, and that's why people get in a rut with the same type of music that they listen to. And I think that that's something that we should promote, is being disturbed by music and being disturbed and kind of uprooted by the experience of it all.
That's why I love horror movies. You know what I mean? Like, the last thing you want to
let's talk about that when we gotta take a break.
Okay.
Then we'll come back to horror movies.
Okay.
Good segue, though.
Yeah.
We'll be right back.
Perfect.
So get disturbed by these ads or something.
This podcast is sponsored by Relevant, a location-based mobile network personalized by your interests. Customize your news feed to consolidate all the information you care about all in one place to quickly and easily find what's relevant to you. Find out what's going on in your local area and reach your community from the palm of your hand. Relevant is available on iOS and coming soon to Android. Be the first to know with Relevant.
All right, we're back with the Poorly Edited Podcast. We got Chris from Scissorfish.
Hi.
Chris, why do you like horror movies? Are you into Satan?
Am I into Satan? I saw like
If
a
it's
king.
not the horror movies, is it the rock and roll?
wouldn't say I'm into Satan. I could take or leave him. All right,
That's a really good stance to have on Satan,
opinion.
I think.
If he's real, don't do anything to me. If not, I have nothing to be worried about. I like horror movies, basically, because like the same thing with music. The last thing sometimes you want to hear is someone screaming at you. The last thing you want to see is someone get like stabbed in the face or like, cut up or gored and everything on a screen. But it's like, that's, a disturbing thing, but it will change you and expose you to things you've never seen. I'm not saying if you can't watch horror movies that are really gory, fine. Can you watch a scary movie? I think probably some people could, even if they're like sensitive to gory movies. You could watch a scary movie.
There's some psychological ones out there without any blood or anything.
Yeah, and that's just as important. I mean, like Silence of the Lambs, even though maybe not translating well today, there are still some parts of that that are like, just to look into like a really well portrayed sociopath, psychopath monster.
Yeah, I actually watched that kind of recently for the first time, actually, and maybe it doesn't hold up as well as a horror-based film, but I thought it was good, and psychologically it was great.
Yeah. I mean, like...
I'm sorry, Silence of the Lambs is my favorite horror movie of all time, and I watched it just the other day, and I love this so much because I think that more and more and more we're seeing horror movies that there's kind of no structure to the horror, and there's no structure to the reason the villain is doing things or why they're doing things or to the approach of why they're attacking people, or it's just like or it's just very personal. And I love this so much. I love the base of respect out of it, that he just eats people because they're disrespectful. I love the entire thing.
Please stop whispering. I'm sorry, but
I'm sorry, am I actually whispering?
So can you stop salivating?
I'm scared of him.
Oh shoot.
he's here with us, guys.
Hannibal? Dr. Lecter?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, totally. It's just sometimes it's important to like see a portrayal of someone that's like at the brink of sanity or is incredibly intelligent like that and is dangerous, because those people exist. And I think like to hide those people from yourself is not a good idea either. I feel like life is such a bizarre and strange thing already. If you look around at you every day, like the things that go on are incredible every single day. And it's like to not show yourself everything that there is going on in the world, politically, everywhere. You're just going to like die a person that wasn't experienced in the life you were given. So I feel like to me, it's really important to expose myself to these crazy things, even if I might not want to see them at first.
Yeah, it's kind of happened to me recently, where like I don't know, for a while I just like didn't really want to do a lot, and now I've just been like forced to do stuff, and I'm like, even if I didn't enjoy it, I'm like, I did it. Yeah. And now I've gone out of my way to do that stuff. Now.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I can say that it's happened.
Right.
I'm not proud of it or anything, but I did it.
I worked as a cashier at a supermarket, and it was awful.
Yeah.
And, like I also
do that right now. So.
Right. And I worked in a very empty place, so I have an 8-hour shift, and I did nothing. And as horrible as it was, one of the best experiences in my life was learning what it's like to just be a person standing in a really clean space doing nothing with like fluorescent white lights over me. That's an experience, and it's very strange, and it's very important, I think, to just experience not like harming things that are going to hurt you, but things that are just like ugh or weird or strange.
It gives you a different perspective, so that you can properly judge and view people around you, I think.
Yeah, like and never put yourself in anything that you can't do. Like, I'm not saying like if you're terrified of something, go force yourself to do it, because I don't want you to hurt yourself. But a little danger in your life is nothing wrong with that. There's there's nothing wrong with having a little bit of danger at some points. It's why people do roller coasters. It's why people go to metal concerts. It's why people don't wear earplugs when they go to concerts, because it's like, blast my ears full. Or
the last one's a pretty bad idea.
It is a bad idea. Yeah, I highly recommend ear protection. But I've done it without ear protection, and it's really fun.
I also have. Then on the way home, you're like, you and your friends are yelling at each other because none of you can hear each other speak.
You're like, who's dinging that bell in the back?
Chandler, like on the way back to a Mom Jeans concert, I think. Out of the way back, he's like, I think I have tinnitus now. So maybe experience going to a concert without ear protection, but if you're going to a lot of concerts,
use ear protection. Yeah. I always use ear protection when I'm playing live and stuff. And yeah, there's no good reason not
I feel like there should be a line of like advertisements or something from like musicians saying that, because like I feel like it's a pretty not punk rock thing to do on the surface. It's wear your protection to a concert.
Yeah,
but I think it's also a very punk rock thing to do. Because then you can listen to more punk rock music longer.
Yeah.
What's more punk rock? Being 80 with perfect hearing and still going to punk rock shows, or being 80 and not being able to go to the show because you can't even like turn the car on because you can't even hear if like the engine started.
This would have been we went to a punk rock flea market and covered that a couple months ago for the Bethlehem Area Public Library. That would have been a really good thing for us to have like gone around to all of the different booths and been like, what's more punk rock?
Yeah.
We went to that Mom Jeans concert, which was actually, we went to that Mom's Jeans concert.
It might be turned down.
Mom's Jeans? Mom's.
You know the name of it.
Oh, shoot. Mom Jeans concert, and there was actually something that I thought was really cool, which was remember we met that woman? There was an organization there that was trying to help people that from now on at all concerts that they only use certain lights that were seizure-free lights, because a lot of people with epilepsy and all different types of things along those lines would go to like punk rock shows. It's not just about like punk rock shows, but it's like all over the place. It's like going to like stores, it's going to like Halloween places, it's going to like amusement parks. Like there's so many different things that you don't realize people can't do, which is really interesting.
Also, I've been to shows and the like really annoying lights are the thing I'm totally okay with being gone.
Yeah.
It seems like a really like, I feel like we could all just decide as a society, with or without making it more available to other people. We could just go without lights shining in your face at concerts.
It's even worse when you're on stage. It's like, because you want to see your hand, you want to feel like, because it's nerve-wracking to go up on stage and like you kind of don't feel like you're in yourself. And then when there's like weird warbly lights all over you and then people yelling things, it's a strange drunken experience. And so I'd be okay without like giant lights, just enough. Put flashlights up so you can kind of see what's going on, but maybe leave a little mystery. A dark stage would be kind of cool.
Imagine like you're a regular person. Imagine having like epilepsy or something.
Yeah.
Regular person.
Yeah.
You imagine having something that like actually hurts you, and then you go to like any normal thing, like a store or a concert or like an amusement park or anything that you want to do that your friends can do, and you're like, I can't go because I'm just gonna have a seizure. Like,
yeah, it's terrible.
Do you want to hang out? No, you guys like always go to places that get seizures, and it's like I'm no fun.
That's crazy. No, I 100% agree with that. They should get rid of
There's
those
danger
kind of
everywhere.
Yeah, and there should be more.
Talk about horror.
Like I was saying.
But danger available to everyone.
Yes. Danger that you pick, not danger that's forced upon you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like seeing a bad horror movie, right? That's what we were talking about.
Like, what's the worst horror movie you've seen?
I almost said something that wasn't a horror movie. Just as an insult. No, I shouldn't do that. Yeah. I don't know. Most of them are pretty bad.
Have you seen Rubber? Rubber's a pretty good one.
With the tire?
Rubber was an important part of a certain time in my life for sure, man.
It's also like intentionally bizarre though. So I wouldn't qualify that as bad. I think it executes on its premise.
It's a tire that kills people.
I think it's really ambitious for what it is. Like the whole breaking the wall kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think it
executes on its premise though, which I think is one of the most important things for a movie to do.
Yeah.
Is that premise bad? Sure.
I don't know.
Weird? Definitely.
You know what we should do just to like make everyone uncomfortable? We should just do like 5 minutes of silence.
Oh.
That sounds like a terrible idea.
I thought it was a really good idea.
That's how you lose listeners.
I just got fired. Just right then.
So let's go around for worst horror movie. Pat, go ahead.
I have no idea.
Yeah, not so easy, is it?
Yeah, let me
Patrick,
think.
That's why I asked you instead of coming up with it myself.
Well, then why weren't you coming up with it when I was saying it?
I don't think it would come back to me.
Come on, man.
I don't know. I think I saw some really boring horror movies, which is the worst thing a horror movie can be. It can be bad and funny. It can be good and terrifying. But if it's just boring, then
that's a good point, actually.
Yeah. That's like the worst thing any movie can be.
Boring.
Sure.
Yeah, boring.
I like boring movies that are like boring, and then at the end of it, you're like, oh my god! Like I was.
What?
Have you seen Hereditary?
No, I've heard people talk about that.
It's not boring.
Yes,
it's
I
not
love
boring,
it.
but
It's not boring.
it's slow paced for a long time. Like the last 15 minutes, like just the gas is like, and you're just like, oh my, what is on the ceiling? Like why is there people cutting their heads off? Like what's happening? And there's like a cult. It's crazy. You know what I mean? So
like talk about gore. Like, I couldn't even look for, like, they hold on it for a really long time of the mom, like, cutting her head off. And you're like...
That's amazing.
Yeah. And I was like, I can't look at this anymore.
Yeah.
I think I remember mine. I don't know what the movie was, but it was kind of like a Hansel and Gretel meets like going to visit the grandparents kind of thing. And like these two little girls
visit.
The visit? Yeah.
Like two little kids go to visit their grandparents.
Yeah,
The grandparents.
She puts when she like tells her to go in the oven.
Get in the oven.
Like
She's
that.
like, clean the oven. Get in the oven.
That's so fun.
And they try to like kill their grandchildren, which is how it feels when I go to Weatherly to visit my grandparents.
Wait, I remember mine now. Dude, Brightburn was awful.
That's not a horror movie.
I think it's supposed to be. Isn't it?
Alvin and the Chipmunks 2. That's the worst one.
Wait, what is Brightburn supposed to be if not a horror movie then?
Sci-fi movie.
Sci-fi? That's not sci-fi. There's not enough sci-fi for that to be a sci-fi
It's
movie.
like Superman, but not.
Yeah, is Man of Steel a sci-fi movie, Lizzy?
Men in Black 4, Men in Black International.
Oh, God.
You haven't even seen that.
Yeah.
I say mine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can just talk. You know.
I have to like. Okay, I forgot what it was now, but
Great.
no, but I really dislike Halloween, the Rob Zombie Halloween.
Oh, I
Dislike it.
I understand
The one with
why.
Daniel Roebuck in it?
Yes.
I understand why. However, it's really fun. Except for like the one part in the psych ward with the
Yes,
girl.
that's why I hate it.
I agree with that. I thought that was like just too much, not okay. Kind
Yeah.
of like with a horror movie, like that's a really, 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 really weird line to cross.
And it
it's-
was so long. Like, if you're gonna do it,
at least have like a
Just-
plot reason.
yeah,
you know,
there's no reason.
There was, yeah, it's stupid. But
Yeah.
some of the, especially the second one, some of the violence is like, whoa.
Yeah.
I also like a really tall Michael Myers.
Yeah.
I love the Halloween series because they're so bad. But I like that one just because of how big he is, and like you'll see it like when they walk him through the jail and he's like 4 feet taller than
Yeah.
everybody else, and like he's just ready to like throw people around. I'm kind of cool with that idea, and I did like the idea of him like being like a hillbilly kind of kid with like trash parents and stuff like that. I did like that as an idea. I thought that was a cool take on it, but I understand why you wouldn't like it.
trash parents.
Like when he was throwing the people around. If you've seen the movie, like he's just tossing like
When
the
we
guards.
went to Universal Horror Nights, they had a Halloween thing, like a haunted house, and all of them were too short. Like, I was like, I'm not afraid of them.
Yeah.
short.
Like, he has to be so tall. And
We
like,
were just talking about that.
Yeah.
Like they just kind of like the suspension
Yeah.
of disbelief was just like not there. It was just too
and
much.
they had a bunch of them like there, and they were all different heights. And I was
Yeah.
like, you're really breaking the illusion here.
Yeah, because I mean, the scary thing about Michael, I mean, besides like he has a knife, he doesn't
Yeah.
have a gun, so he has to get close to
Yeah.
get you, and he's really big, and you can't see his face, so you know he can like physically like just throw you around, like you can't fight him. You know he has to get in really close, and he has no expression on his face.
Yeah.
Like that's why he's so freaking scary. Like I
I
mean,
actually just watched the behind the scenes for Halloween, and they would just call him the Shape because
Yeah.
he's not like a person.
Yeah.
He's not. He's the boogeyman, you know.
he's that's what's so cool about it. And
Yeah.
then they try to like he's part of a cult and he was raised by
Yeah,
these.
it's just a little too far.
It's scary because you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
And in the end of the movie, he's not there anymore. Like it's great, you know.
Yeah.
I like the new one too, the one they just
Oh
did.
yeah, I like that one.
That was because they threw out all the garbage. And one of the best things you can ever see is the reboot of Halloween. I can't remember what rapper it was, but they have like a rapper as like the main character, and like he karate kicks Michael Myers through like a window, and he's like "Happy Halloween," and like he goes flying, and it's just like the dumbest thing. So it's like thank God they deleted all of that garbage and just went back to something that made sense.
Yeah.
And it's a really good one because there's no helpless like little girl kind of thing. Like every horror movie, there's a last girl, and she's like she can't, she's screaming, and it's like don't scream, he's gonna hear you. And they make all the dumb decisions. No. They made her like a really strong character that could kick butt and fight back. And I was like, oh, thank God they did that. It was
That's
time.
why I like Scream a lot.
Yeah.
It's very meta. It's my favorite.
I'm really excited for Rob Zombie 3 because they just released the trailer the other day.
Zombie 3.
3. They released the trailer like 2 days ago.
What's that?
Rob Zombie 3, like the trailer, like the one with Daniel Roebuck, the first one that you're talking about.
Oh, you mean the Halloween movie?
Yeah,
not just a movie about Rob Zombie.
No, right. They released the third one.
The third one about Rob Zombie.
It looks very, very not good, but in like the way that you have to see it. So I'm very excited for that.
Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about all the Annabelle movies.
Oh,
I hate them. They're bad,
terrible.
But I just have to see them.
Yeah, I get that. No, I totally get. Have you ever seen the Leprechaun movies?
No. I've seen bits of it. Sorry.
Sorry. I mean, unfortunately, we have to cut short this this trashing of horror movies. Yeah. We're gonna do a break. We'll be right back. Chris will play music for us.
All right, let me get that ready.
So yeah, we'll be right back. And we're back with the podcast. And Chris is hopefully in tune guitar. I don't know if he had enough time.
That sounds in tune to you.
I'm not a good judge of that. But yeah, take it away if you're ready.
All right. This is not going to sound maybe as crazy as it would with like electric guitars and everything. It's a song called The Great Pilot, and it seems to be like the one that people really like by us. So I'm going to play that one acoustic, and here we go. Still friends or enemies, I still can't tell. Freezing cold, getting old, talking to yourself. Do you respond? Does it take long for panic to set in? 3, 2, 1, lift up on my heart. It's so heavy and cold, might just slip through your grip. Can I get one sip of? Can I get one sip of? Does it all pile up on you? Does it all pile up on you? The poets sleep, foamed with freaking sunlight poking through. With the lights off and the device on, oh darling, all night long. With the reruns and the earbud buzz, fuzz cutting through. Lost this time, whoa, 'cause I wanted to. She lost grip, senses stripped, not too much left. And here she goes, and here I sit, insignificant. 3, 2, 1, lift up on my heart. It's so heavy and cold, might just slip through your grip. Can I get one sip of? Can I get one sip of? Does it all pile up on you? Does it all pile up? Why you? Thank you.
That was awesome.
All right, dude, that was great.
I love that.
That was one of my favorites that you played the other night too.
Yeah, that's the one everyone seems to really enjoy.
Is that going to be on the thing that you recorded?
Yes, the upcoming record.
We didn't even talk about that
we
much,
should.
so I guess we should at least. We only have a couple minutes, but let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay, so yeah, I'm self-recording an album with my band. It's all DIY stuff. It's all our own music. It'll be coming out, I'd like to say by the end of the summer, but because we're doing it all ourselves, it takes a while. So, but it will be like a full-length record, all original material. It's going to be pretty crazy, I hope. Everything, there's going to be a lot of surprises, I hope, in the record. And that song will be on there. It's called The Great Pileup. You can check that song out like live with like a guitar solo and crazy noises on YouTube. If you look at the Scissorfish, The Great Pileup. We also have another song called Where's Everyone that we did live. We have 2 more coming out on YouTube that are 2 different songs with a completely different theme. And like the room looks completely different. We're wearing like giant painter suits and we have crazy paint all over our face. And I get really weird and freaked out and yell things about lab rats or whatever. So you can check that out. That'll be coming out soon too. We just filmed it. We're editing it. And then should I do like live dates coming up?
Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so if you want to catch us, we have a bunch of crazy stuff going on in August. We have like 1 week of almost solid gigs. A big one we have coming up is with Casual Yak. It's Wednesday, August 7th. And it's at the Brighton Bar in Long Branch, New Jersey. So follow us on Instagram, The Scissorfish. We always advertise our stuff. We're going to be playing at the Hookah House for Music Fest coming up. We'll be playing just all over the place. Just go to our Instagram page and follow us and check out our stuff. We have some stuff up. And
what's the Instagram page? Is it just Scissorfish?
Yeah, let me make sure it's not the Scissorfish band. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's just a Scissorfish.
I think it's just the Scissorfish.
Yeah, there's not that many people using that.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That's one of our own. And yeah, I think that's all I have to really say about what we're doing.
Awesome. I don't know. Is there anything else you want to talk about real quick?
Oh, merch. You don't have to buy it, but okay. I just wanted to mention that.
Sure.
No, you don't have to, but we have t-shirts available and we have stickers that I showed everyone if someone wants to put a sticker up to like the camera for a second.
Sweet.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. So all that stuff's
Zach's
available.
already repping it, and we've had it for 57 minutes, roughly.
So, yeah. I feel like all that stuff comes last. It's not the most important.
What are you looking at? I thought you were looking out the door, like you were ready to go.
At our guests.
That is the appropriate.
I tend to do that.
Look.
Is pay attention to the guests that we invite.
You're doing
to the
great.
podcast.
You're doing great.
All right.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else to really.
I'm all
talk
right.
about.
You want to plug us on stuff, Amresse?
Sure.
All right. So follow Sly Elliott on everything. Follow Lab212 on Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Pinterest, and Poorly Edited Podcast
Pinterest.
on Facebook. We have Pinterest. Yeah.
No, we don't actually.
We do have Pinterest.
I'll go along with
Does the Scissorfish have a Pinterest?
No.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming out, man.
Thank you for having me.
Making the drive.
Awesome. Yeah.
It was a pleasure. Yeah. And just everybody check these guys out. They have a great live show. There's so much energy. They're jumping around and interacting with the crowd and the cameras and stuff. It was a lot of fun.
I'm pretty sure I licked a camera or something.
You got very close to licking Chandler's lens. I'm not sure if it actually happened or not.
I don't know either.
Sounds really dirty.
I'm not so much there anymore.
You really should have if you didn't.
I will next time if
Okay,
you guys
good.
show up. Yeah, I promise.
Got to get that water.
We'll make it happen.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Thank you, Chris, and we'll see you next week.
Music? What's the music?
Oh, you're right.
It's a food truck, right? Yeah, yeah.
I played Full Circle to begin with, and we're going to end it on Saturday.
All right.